Good morning. Nice of you guys to drop by.
What a piece of junk. What are you talking about?
Don't be too proud of this technological terror you've constructed.
Look, don't worry. Everything's gonna be fine. Trust me.
I don't know what all this trouble is about, but I'm sure it must be your fault. Don't get technical with me.
This bickering is pointless.
Don't everybody thank me at once.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
I'm glad you're here to tell us these things.
How could you even say that?
I got a bad feeling about this.
Well, come on. Everything's perfectly all right now. We're fine. We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you?
Would you get going, you pirate?
Get in there, you big furry-o! I don't care what you smell!
I'm getting too old for this sort of thing.
If what you've told me is true, you will have gained my trust.
I like the sound of that.
Get a shuttle ready.
I don't know. Fly casual.
Shuttle Tydirium, what is your cargo and destination?
Transmission commencing.
Hey everybody, thanks again for tuning in to another episode of the Shuttle Tydirium podcast. We are the mothership of Casual X-Wing, where we make mistakes so you don't have to. I'm your pilot, Jim Chadwick, and I have sitting next to me, my co-pilot, Phil Mead. How you doing, Phil?
I'm fine. I do apologize for the smell. The Ewoks are on a new diet. Has lots of fiber.
Yeah, we might have to put straw out or something. It's getting a little bad.
Well, it's good for them. It's good.
Maybe we should talk to head of human resources, the cranky protocol droid, J-Bot. How you doing, J-Bot?
Doing pretty good. Obviously, it's a little rough patch we're going through, but every year everybody has a New Year's resolution, and mine this year was to try and get these people to eat a healthier diet, vegetarian, that sort of thing. So I'm sure it's just some growing pains, and everybody will get used to it. If not, then we'll have to hand out a few pink slips before it's over with. And
all right. Now, I will say that I've been feeling the, missing Jake and feeling the gap, and so I have actually reached out and requested a transfer from Imperial authorities to get a new chief engineer on board, because I want to have a chief engineer to make sure we're running a smooth show. But I've actually reached out and grabbed, had transfer a friend of the podcast, Biff, who is now chief engineer. Biff, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Hello, everybody. It's good to be here.
And this is a lot of times people first hearing your voice because you were just that mysterious friend of podcast. Now you're chief engineer, Biff.
Yeah, all the mystique is gone now, right?
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little about yourself?
Well, so first off, I am, as I mentioned, I'm really excited to kind of be a part of this. As a matter of fact, I think I'm a little bit more excited than a mouse droid being chased by a Wookiee. But I am a little apprehensive about joining the crew. So as you mentioned, you had kind of made a request to get another chief engineer. So I got yanked from the pretty cushy job that I had. I was a chief engineer for a shuttle at the Imperial Legends theme park. I'm sure you guys have heard all about that.
Yeah.
No? Oh, you have? Okay.
A little bit. Tell us more about it.
Oh, tell you a little bit more? Okay. The park, it's just a short hop away from Coruscant. It doesn't take much to get there. As you can probably imagine, the theme park is all based totally on like stories and characters, planets and ships, of Imperial lore, all the kind of stuff that
it's almost like a universe that was expanded.
yeah, they do. They were expanding it for a while. They stopped doing that for some reason. I think the shuttle that I was assigned to was a pretty popular ride there at the park. It was a Lambda shuttle, coincidentally enough, but it was tricked out with a lot of Duraplast and transparent steel to make it look like a uber aggressive military ship. The ride was called the Assault Gunboat. Lots of middle-aged adults really like to go for rides.
That's interesting.
I bet it was popular. So what you're saying is basically that you were a carny.
Yeah.
An Imperial carny.
An Imperial carny.
Yep.
I bet they've got a dress code.
So
no, earrings only in one ear.
the really bad thing about getting the transfer was our popularity. My ride was kind of skyrocketing because from time to time the park undergoes some changes. And a few months ago, for whatever reason, the park suddenly closed one of the most popular exhibits there. It was showcasing some blue-skinned, red-eyed naval officer. It was really weird how quickly that thing shut down, because it was almost as if like that character's story had become real and therefore couldn't hang out at the park anymore with the legends.
Oh, yeah. I heard they shut down the TIE Defender ride, too.
I think you're right. Now that I think about that, yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
Oh, that's just sounds awesome. So when are we going? That's my question, because that sounds like a really fun place to go.
I still got plenty of contacts. I can get us tickets, no problem.
Awesome.
Oh, I hope so.
The very far end of the park is called Vongland is not very fun.
It's pretty smelly.
Yeah, it's just really bad. It's just not worth it. Not well
friendly
thought out.
people. Friendly people.
Yeah.
No friendly people there.
Well, all right. Excellent. Thanks aboard, Biff. Thanks for coming aboard, I should say. Not that you had a choice with Imperial Orders, but thanks for applying. Or actually, my one request as chief engineers, make sure you have enough restraining bolts on hand. So please order another stack.
So this is just a random aside. It almost feels like he's, if y'all ever saw the old Dragnet movie, where he's basically Strebeck coming in out of the undercover, driving in the crappy car or crappy clothes, and now you got to wear an actual suit, an actual uniform, and come onto a real ship, not the fake ride that you've been on, pulling a lever, watching children scream, and as they go through tunnels and that sort of stuff.
That's so true.
Too funny. So Biff, where do you live? Because I know everybody knows that J-Bot and I are in Charlotte, North Carolina, and Phil is up in New York City.
So I live here in Indianapolis. That's
Home
my stomping ground. Yep, home of Gencon. Yes, and hopefully for many, many, many years to come, it'll be the home of Gencon. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Because that does shift, because it's the Lake Geneva convention, not in Lake Geneva.
Correct. I think what it moved from Lake Geneva to Milwaukee and then down to Indianapolis. There might have been one other city in there, but yeah. And from what I understand, they just renewed. They're going to be here, I think, either 2020 or 2021.
Woohoo!
All right.
How many game stores are in your area? Do you know?
Oh, there's several, as a matter of fact. I probably should have done a quick search to get a count, because I'm probably not familiar with all of them. But just off the top of my head, there's at least 6, and they're scattered rather well all the way around town. There's some on the north side, east side, west side, south side, and even smack dab in the middle of downtown. So real good distribution. The majority of them have a fairly good X-Wing following, and a handful have the one night a week where they'll play X-Wing. Most of it is tournament style, folks practicing to get ready for whatever planetoid event is coming up within the next couple of months. So a very, very good presence here in Indianapolis. Casual scene, not to my knowledge, isn't really that heavy, but I'm trying to make a few moves in that direction. But I'm very, very early in that master plan, if you will.
You sounds like your area needs the X-Father. So
the X-Father.
We have one guy in our area, Blake, who. It's such a crazy story, but I don't remember how he got started. If he just wandered in and saw us playing, or if he wanted to play and didn't know where to play. But
he actually started to play, and it was one of these times I had to watch my kid at home, and I couldn't go out to the game store, and I really wanted to play. And when the group was really new, and I was, he had joined the group, and him and a buddy came over to my house and played at my kitchen table, and he was really new, and we started playing. So that's how I first met Blake. And now he's And then he got more into the game and everything, and I said that he was like, someone needs to organize these things, and I was like, oh, great, I'm glad you volunteered.
What's crazy is I think it actually happened where the local store Jim and I play at, they ran like a monthly tournament, like a monthly Saturday mini tournament, and the guy who ran it was tired of running it, and so he came over to the group and was like, anybody here want to GM is not the best word, but essentially the rule guy. Yeah, there you go. TO, the tournament operator for the tournament. Anybody want to do that? And I think everybody took a step back, and Blake was the only one still standing there, and he's like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And a year later, he's, if you were to open a brand new store, let's say in the Charlotte area, because I went into, I knew when Meeple, I went in there and was talking to him, and he's like, oh yeah, we're doing this, that, and the other, and he had X-Wing set up on, like a little demo of it set up on one of his tables, and I said, oh, you guys are going to do X-Wing? He's like, yeah, and I said, well, I'll talk to Blake. I said, he'll come by. And he's like, who's Blake? I was like, you'll find out who Blake is. Yeah. He's like, if you want a night, you got to organize it with him, otherwise, because he kind of shuffles players around.
Yeah, didn't even say like, who's Blake? People keep talking about Blake.
Yeah, Blake will be by.
Blake will be by. He'll come talk to you. He was the godfather, the ex-father. He's
Well, so one day he'll ask you for a favor. One day, maybe. That day may never come. So,
so one of the stores decided to be closed on Mondays, but X-Wing was there Monday night, and he's like, "Hey, I'd like to change my X-Wing night to be a different one because we're shutting on Mondays." And Blake's like, "Nope, we're all filled." Monday night, you don't got it.
I feel like he does need some heavies though, some bagmen to go with him to enforce his rules. Pay protection money to their night. But that's. It's crazy, and we like to pick on it, but it really is a great idea to have someone in the area when you have that many stores. It kind of helps organize to make sure two stores aren't stepping on each other's toes. And what happens is anybody who's kind of in that central area or relatively close will travel to 3 or 4 stores because they know they're on separate nights. And if they have a game night on the same night, they have to kind of split their loyalty between the two. And so they tend to choose one or the other, whichever is closest. But if you separate the nights out, then all these people can go anywhere. And then occasionally Blake does his world tour, which is a month of him visiting every single store each night in the week to play, to get ready for tournaments and stuff. So
yeah, he actually runs a lot of the tournaments at different stores, and he's organized that each night is a different store. It's kind of spread out, and it's just really great. So it sounds like, Biff, you need an X-Father in your area to kind of organize things so that every night of the week there's X-Wing somewhere.
So you mentioned that. Now that I understand that, when I was first trying to, if you will, like crack into the scene here, I got kind of tipped off that there was an individual that would go from store to store, and perhaps maybe it was 5 stores or 4 stores in the area, and every week he would go to a different store. So essentially about once a month, these 4 stores, he would be holding a tournament there. I attempted to reach out to him, and for life of me, I can't come up with a name right now, otherwise I'd mention it, just to see if I could help out or whatnot, but nothing came of it, and I haven't seen any traffic here on the local Facebook pages and so forth to date. But yeah, that's definitely a good idea. That would be a good thing to have. Get more Imperial power, right?
Yeah, and I happen to we have a Facebook for the greater Charlotte area, and when I started it was store agnostic, and I think that's highly important because you get a lot of these little enclaves that are, this store's got a Facebook page, or this store's got a forums, or etc. And if you're in your local area, I highly encourage a greater wide area because you could be playing at people's houses, you could be playing it, and you can organize people better, and it's less cliquish.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good thing to do as well.
Yep. All right. So welcome aboard, Biff.
Thanks again.
We can probably next talk about another news item. New news for the C-Roc.
We forgot our question.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's right.
We're 25 minutes in with no question.
So I was going to let Biff actually do the captain's question, so I guess it'd be a chief engineer's question. But Biff, do you want to go ahead with the captain's question?
Sure thing. So for this week, the captain / chief engineer's question will be, so which title do you wish you could apply to any other ship, whether it be to a class or to a particular one? What would you wish you could extend?
So do we have to say, I want this to go on every other ship, or say I want this on that particular ship?
I would like to leave it open-ended. That way, maybe we can get some good ideas or some interesting conversation going. Yeah. So however you want to slice that.
And J-Bot can pull out something from the EU or the Legends.
No. This is an actual card, right?
I mean, all right, yeah. It doesn't do you any good to put a title on like the assault gunboat.
That's right, yeah.
I'll go first.
Okay.
I'd love to see the V1 title on the T-65 X-Wing, which is basically you get a target lock, you get a free evade token.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
It would surely make them broken, but... But that's what I'd do.
Cool.
How about Phil?
I think I would put the A-Wing test pilot title, make that available for Y-Wings.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that would.
So that gives EPTs, it's a 0-point upgrade, and it would give Y-Wings above pilot skill 2 or 3? I don't know, 3 and up.
Yeah.
For sure. An elite pilot talent slot. And that would be cool for Y-Wings to have that.
And it's 0 points, so J-Bot can surely hate it.
Yes. Well, I won't hate it if everybody can have it.
That's good. Right. I like that. That's good. And I suppose J-Bot.
I can finally give Warden Solomon EBT. That's the real.
Yeah, you can finally give one specific character the EPT he always deserves.
It's pretty much all I'm in it for.
Yeah. Well, I had a toss up between two. Although one of them makes relative sense and the other one's just kind of a stupid wish. I think the Moldy Crow from the Hawk is something that could be used on almost any ship that's out there. There's a few that wouldn't take advantage of it, but the ability to bank focus tokens could become an incredible ability on some of those ships out there that can pass them out, or that you can borrow them from, that sort of thing. So that's my gimme one. The other one, it's massively expensive, but I like the punishing one title, which is just increase your primary weapon value by 1. It's like, I'm gonna give this to any other ship, but it costs 12 points. So I mean, it suddenly turns some relatively cheap ships into very expensive ships.
I think you just want to have the Hawk to get a weapon skill 2 finally.
It should. Did anybody see my post about the Hawk? I think maybe like 3 people actually read it. Where somebody had posted a picture of it, and I put the stats comparing it to the Falcon and the U-Wing.
Right.
It's like, wait a minute. If you use the stats based off of where they dig them from, and the best I can tell is a lot of the stuff that comes on Wikipedia gets dug out of the comics and role-playing games and things like that. It's strangely, the ship almost feels like something they made before they made large base ships. I mean, if I had to be curious about that, because it fits perfectly in the large base ship size based on the sizes and cargo carrying capacities and things like that. So it starts to make you wonder, why wasn't this a large base ship with a cargo slot with, a totally different weapon outlay and that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Oh, well. No,
maybe they thought it was going to be too similar to the Falcon.
Yeah, and it is a lot of ways to the Falcon. The one thing I will complain about on Wikipedia is they have zero consistency when it comes to stats on things. It's like one ship, maneuverability high, you go to another one, like an X-Wing, doesn't even have that listed as a stat, quote unquote. It doesn't even say if it's maneuverable, yes or no. So it really is difficult to compare those things. So you got to take it with a pretty large grain of salt. But it does make me wonder sometimes where FFG gets their information from, what they're basing the size of the ships and that sort of stuff on where are they getting that information? Is what the really
I'm
the
sure
question.
the LucasArts has like some sort of database or something.
Oh yeah,
There's a
yeah,
file cabinet somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure they're right on board with all this stuff.
Yeah. All right. So after I've jumped the gun, are we ready now to move on to the news?
Yeah,
Biff got to give his.
Oh, Biff! I'm not used to it. I'm used to. Okay, Biff.
Oh shoot.
That's good.
What's your title that you would move?
So J-Bot picked the one that I was going to talk about, and I'll just touch on it just briefly.
Yes.
But
Yes.
yeah. So good job, J-Bot. So I was going to pick the punishing one as well. I'm a bit of a aviation enthusiast, and one of the things that I've always liked with what has been done to, let's say, fighter aircraft in particular, even from the early days of like World War I all the way up to current day, is the ability to add on additional armament.
Right.
Not so much like you're putting on like a secondary weapon in the X-wing vernacular, but you're mounting additional machine guns, or you're mounting a large cannon on the aircraft in order to give you more of that, if you will, primary punch. So I very much like that one, and would really like to be able to apply that to any ship in the field of play, even if it were to cost rather heavily. Just to have that as an option, I think is just a cool thing to do in the game.
I just thought about, what if we took the /D Defender title and put it on a Lambda shuttle?
I was thinking about that for like the B-Wing. That might actually make the B-Wing interesting again.
Either of those would
Which
be
one's the
brutal.
/D? Is that where you get
That's one where
for going over 4? Or
after you shoot your primary, after you shoot a cannon shot, you can shoot your primary weapons, or is it vice versa?
Okay.
So basically,
yeah,
But
the cannon has to be 3 points or fewer.
Oh, true.
So no, like heavy laser cannon followed up by your primary weapon shot.
Yeah.
Jeez, yeah, that would be a little rough for those range 2 guys.
Yeah. And fire control system, just
That certainly would turn the B-Wing into a formidable craft again. We'd see it all over the place.
I still think they're formidable. Then again, I don't like turn. Yeah.
What's that?
I still think they're formidable. I don't like to get in front of them.
Oh no, nothing wants to get in front of a B-Wing. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
But the idea of having a modification or something out there to increase your primary attack value does seem like a relatively valid one. It just would have to be crazy expensive, because I've got a 2, making it a 3 isn't that crazy. But if one of those people with a 4, say a Phantom, getting pushed up to a 5 might be pretty disgusting. So
it'd be interesting if they had some sort of something in the game that would do a one-time boost to your weapons, like maybe some sort of supercharged battery.
Yeah, possibly.
Maybe bump your attack.
Yeah, but I doubt they're going to put something
like a one-time use, because it would then burn out or something.
Yeah,
but
I don't think they'll ever put that in the game. So, ready to move on to the news?
Yeah. Let's move on to the news. We need a news segment. Today, the HoloNet, Galactic HoloNet. All right, so the C-Roc. What is the actual article called? Hang on.
I think it's Merchant 1.
Which is kind of silly, because so the first one that they had, like they introduced the C-Roc, they leaked the Merchant 1 title. And so in the second article, where they give off the other 2 titles, they call it the Merchant 1. Is that not kind of backwards?
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Yeah.
Interesting choice.
Right. As Morrigan says, I have what you ordered. What do you have to offer in return?
Nice as Morgan voice.
Thank you.
You have a future.
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, impressive.
I'll have to write a new role for you in the
Gencon
promo.
That is Morgan.
As Morgan has a cameo now.
Right. For our narrative event that we're going to be releasing soon. But that's later in the show. So Phil, you want to talk about what's in the article?
Basically, there's 4 things that are new that we see here. There's 1 cargo upgrade. There's 2 cargo upgrades and 2 title upgrades. The first cargo upgrade is quick release cargo locks. This is C-Roc cruiser and GR75 only.
Yeah, so GR75, a lot of people didn't see that,
Yeah.
when it first came out, but the Rebel transport can use it.
Yeah, so I think this is the only time I've seen, limited to 2 specific ships only in this way, right? I mean,
yeah, but it makes sense because they're both kind of just cargo ships.
Yeah. Oh, it totally makes sense. I think X-Wing only titles also work this way because it's X-Wing T65 and T70.
Well, say for like TIE fighters.
This is the first time, this is sort of interesting that they spell it out like this. And the card reads, it's limited, reads, at the end of the activation phase, you may discard this card to place 1 container token. It's cargo upgrade, and it's 2 points. So, couple questions. What does it mean, place 1 current container token?
Bolded.
Yeah, because that's not
that's
something,
a little weird.
That's not something that can happen in the game right now. Normally, you do not place things. You deploy things. That language we know. Also, what is a container token in the context of the game? I mean, we have other container tokens from other missions, like the Den of Thieves mission that we just reviewed either last week or a couple of weeks ago. But that is not the container token they're talking about here.
Do you think it's the crazy template that's in the picture?
Yeah, it's almost like the outline of a debris field, but it's intact containers.
Yeah, that's what it looks like if you kind of zoom in.
And it doesn't have
the picture. It looks like a debris cloud that is a bunch of
intact containers.
Piled
right,
containers.
and it doesn't have the little prongs like it was a bomb either.
There's no deployment guide.
Yeah.
Or like the one that's the
spare parts?
rigged cargo chute.
Yeah, it's not like that. Yeah, it's like that without the deployment guide.
No dead floating Ewoks.
Right. Anything could be in those cargo containers.
This one might be even better for it.
Yeah, anything could be in those cargo containers.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, there were some people online and they were like, oh, what's going to happen? Maybe they have bombs and this and that. And, that while that sounds all really cool, and maybe in the future they come up with different types of cargo that you could drop, I'm pretty sure this is just going to be a debris cloud.
Yeah.
Or, or maybe some slightly different rules variant like a debris cloud or like asteroids.
Yeah, that's what I would guess also.
Yeah. Well, what's odd here is, now maybe they just never do this, and I just haven't paid attention. But there is from looking through the picture, there's no rules card.
Yeah, there's no reference card shown.
Yeah, which I don't see, and maybe they just never show them, and I've just never paid attention to that. But it does beg the question: if there isn't a reference card, they're leaving a lot of it up to the player kind of judgment for how that works. Is this
I'm
a
sure
debris
that
cloud?
it's either in the rules booklet or there is a rules card. I'm not sure if they actually show
maybe, yeah.
Yeah, because there should be at least one for. Normally they have a rules reference for title, right? At least. I mean, I think they're probably just not showing us because there's so many.
Yeah.
There's enough cards in this pack already.
That put it out there, the internet's going to erupt. Go, oh, look, there's a new rule. We're going to come up with some rule. They're going to fix the X-Wing.
Yeah. I'm sorry. It's always. I was jumping over to my video game side where people will connect all these random dots and suddenly say Half-Life 3 confirmed.
Right.
So I was sitting there. That's the thought that ran through my head. Is it's like, well, this is shaped like a XYZ, and this does that. It's all gunboat confirmed. That sort of thing.
Well, already people have talked about those. There's these tokens that have the little money symbol on them.
Right.
And,
yeah, the credit symbol.
I'm sure that I'm guessing they're for a mission because
that's
like the other tokens that are next to it. I'm sure they're for a mission, but people are already saying, "Ooh, it's for Jabba the Hutt. He's gonna have some weird ability, and he's gonna get money tokens, and we're gonna totally project what Jabba the Hutt card does, based upon these money tokens." I'm like, there is a chance, yes, that maybe those money tokens are used for the Jabba the Hutt card, but most likely, no, those are just for a mission.
Most often, those kinds of things are for a mission. Yeah, I mean, who knows what Jabba does, but
Well, that's just coming from people who aren't used to playing missions, so they don't know what the tokens look like when they come out. So.
True. I was asking for people who have leftover if they had any, because I'm trying to mass tokens for Gencon events, and I was asking local people, hey, do you have any of the satellite tokens or the this or that? They're like, wait, what do they look like? I don't know if I have them.
Everybody had them in a bag. Like everybody's, hey, I'll give you mine. And you'd walk by, and I felt like a drug dealer with all these people handing me these little bitty baggies of tokens, because they're like, I've never took them out of the bag. Here they're. And I'm just like, Jim, I've got a bunch. Here's a whole bunch of bags of tokens.
Nice.
What have you got? You got any of those satellite tokens for me?
Yeah.
Just wait till someone hands you an unpunched set of tokens.
No, they always take up too much room. You always got to punch them out.
Literally, like when a new set of ships comes out, you walk over to the trash bin at our local store.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
They've punched the dial out. They've punched, whatever the most important pieces are, and then the rest of it's just tossed. So,
yeah, because you don't really need that, 205th shield token.
Yeah, I said what needs to happen is they need to just put like a cookie jar near the tables that everybody throws their target locks and shield tokens and all that stuff into, just as a community pot. So. Because I can't count how many times people are like, "Oh no, I dropped a shield token. Is that my shield token?" I'm like, just leave it. Let it get scooped up. Because I've got hundreds of them, and I don't even own every ship in the fleet. So
I gotta say something though, and I know it's totally interrupts news. I almost need to remove my restraining bolt to talk about it, because I'm so pissed at myself. And I'm sure other people have done this. You ever buy you get like a large or several ships. You get a bunch of ships and you open them all up and you get all the tokens out. And you make little dials and everything. I went to play my U-wing the other day, so I got it like a month ago and I hadn't played it. So I was all excited to do something with my U-wing, and I get out the mini and I'm looking for the dial and I just can't find the dial. And I'm looking for the pilot cards and I can't find the pilot cards. I'm like, what the heck? And I spent like 10 minutes looking through all my stuff because I've got so much stuff. And then finally I'm like, well, I should at least have like an expertise card in my card thing. So I go to my EPTs and I slide in the back where the most expensive ones are, and I have no expertise. And I realize I had to have thrown away all my stuff that came in the blister.
Oh, wow.
So I have the ship and only the ship and the stand. And I have thrown away the
not
dial,
even the cardboard inserts.
All the inserts.
Yeah,
it
sounds like that whole bag.
Everything.
Everything. That's what it sounds like.
Everything.
That hurts.
I remember getting it and being kind of pressured to hurry up and get a game in, and I'm getting my stuff out and I'm eating my dinner and I'm pulling the cards out and I'm cutting things open and I'm putting like, this is all the pile of crap I'm going to throw over in this pile and this over here, and I had to have thrown it all away.
Yeah, so now you pretty much have like a display piece.
Yeah, well, FFG has been really good with their customer service on things, and I have reached out to them to try to see if there's anything I can do, because otherwise, I'm totally screwed. And now it's all through Asmodeus, so I'm a little worried, because I know FFG had awesome customer service support. Like there's some guy who ran over his TIE Defender. He went to his
I love this guy already. Ran it over. Like to get video of it. That's why I want.
No, he took pictures of it and he posted online, and and he tried to glue the
reassembled it
together, and people started calling it the Derp Fender because it looked so bad. It was like a TIE Defender all glued to pieces and everything. And he was like, what could I do? Do you think I could contact FFG? And so many people are like, you fool, you are a total scum for trying to ask for free stuff. Don't bother with FFG. Just go spend more of your money. And we're jumping down this guy's throat. And he ended up contacting FFG. And he showed pictures and everything. They wrote back and they're like, we in customer support love to hear stories like this, and including pictures, and we are more than happy to send you a free Defender. I mean, just the model, but because he had proof and everything. Funny. So I'm sure there are probably people out there who could probably be utter bastards and take advantage of it, and enough people did. It would ruin it for everybody like me who had a real problem. So I'm really hoping people don't try to abuse FFG's.
I know that I know that with the Destiny card game, they kind of had to put in some limitations because I think they were so afraid people would abuse it. I don't know how much they'd be worried about cardboard and some cards, but if nothing else, you could always paint it up and make it sell it off as a special paint job shipped to somebody like, hey, here, one of a kind. Maybe get the $15-$20 back to buy another one. That does suck, though.
Oh, I'm so bitter, and I almost like don't want to talk about it because it's like, oh, it still hurts, you know. Like, and I only got me to blame. It's just like, oh, freaking A. Yeah. Okay. So where were we? C-Roc. Yo.
Right. So we were talking about this this weird quick release. And the art for this card is pretty cool. It's dropping containers out behind the ship, and TIE fighters are like flying through them and blasting them apart.
Blowing up because they hit it. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that lines up with what we had before with the debris field. Ewok chucker outer card. What was that? What was it called again?
Rigged cargo chute.
Yeah, rigged cargo chute. Yeah, this seems like that for a big boy cargo ship.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if it's going to have some limitation, like within range 1 of the ship, sort of thing. But it does seem like a very interesting card to throw off pursuit, or depending on how far away you can put it, to really mess with an opponent.
Right. Yeah. The other thing is that as a huge ship, you move last compared to small base ships.
Yep.
So you're gonna know where every ship is when you put down that cargo container token. So with the quick release cargo chute, you either had to be a high pilot skill or if you had like a low pilot skill, you could drop it on somebody. But with this, you're always going to be able to put it at least in front of someone, maybe on them. I don't even know. Who knows what that place rule reads as? Yeah,
but I mean, even just right in front of them, it provides an extra die. Look, it's an obstruction. Sure. I can dump right in front of a whole cadre of fighters that are coming in. So I'm interested to see how it works.
Yeah. So it should be interesting. But obviously we need to know more.
Yeah, but I don't think it's as crazy as some people were trying to conjecture. Oh, maybe there's rules. It's filled with explosives and blah blah blah. I'm like, well, you guys are reaching.
Yeah. Oh, actually, yeah. This actually reads at the end of the activation phase. So this is actually after everything goes, even though they're huge ships. Yeah.
Before they shoot.
Right.
What I'm kind of curious about is end of activation phase. You'll have some bombs going off at the same time, and I'm curious as to the order in which this stuff would take place.
Initiative will decide it. Will be the tiebreaker. I don't know if I don't know. Maybe like if your bomb goes off, I don't know, or if it really matters.
Yeah,
and it might not.
Although if a bomb kills something or not, that may influence your decision of whether or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether or not you, place that cargo container.
Yeah, personally, I'd rather place them right in front of something to force them to fly through it. Than right on top.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
But if they're dead, then you don't need to do that.
Just because that's ruder. Like, I could drop it right on you, but I'm going to drop it right in front of you.
Yeah, and it looks wide enough that if you put it almost base-to-base contact with them, there's really nothing they could do. But you could also, look, it's his front guides. I'm going to put it lengthways so that he's going to have to run all the way through it or turn sharp to get away from it. So it could be interesting what you could do with that sort of ionize them and make them drift through it for 2 turns, sort of thing.
That would be fun.
No.
Yeah. Funny.
Cool. Okay, so next card is supercharged power cells.
Quick release cargo locks, 2 points.
Yeah.
That's pretty cheap. I mean, I can see putting on a ship, Although
I would note that it is more expensive than quick release cargo chute.
True, but this is a cargo slot as opposed to a illicit or whatever the other one is.
Yeah, I don't know how that would change the price, but
what I'm saying is a lot of times people don't even bother putting cargo, or they put their Tabana gas on and leave it at that. But this is actually 2 points. That could actually be something you could put out. It might be worth taking. All right, move on to the next.
Okay, next is another cargo upgrade. It is supercharged power cells. It's limited. When attacking, you may discard this card to roll 2 additional attack dice, 3 points, and cargo.
Dang, what a good idea.
Well, you say that,
really.
but... yeah, this is interesting. It is 3 points to roll 2 more dice once.
Yeah.
So this better be like a good attack.
It felt a little expensive, but at the same time, it could be devastating with the right kind of usage.
Yeah, because you could use this with like homing missile.
Mm-hmm.
To pump it up to 6 dice,
which is really weird to have like a supercharged missile. You know.
Yeah, it doesn't really make much sense, but there's no limitation to primary weapons or anything like that.
What I missed at first is can go on any epic ship, so not just not just the C-Roc yo-yo.
Well, yeah, it's a frightening. To me, it's a frightening card if it's comboed up with other things. Because just spitballing here, say I wanted to use Miranda plus this and put it on a Tantif with the. I can never think of it. I always want to call them torpedo tubes, but
ordnance tubes.
But ordnance tubes. And hit something for 7 dice. You know,
it would actually be Janors. Miranda can
Janors.
own attack.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I was thinking Miranda. Yeah, Janors. Yeah. So hit something for 7 dice, and I mean, have the chance of obliterating almost anything that's out there. That's a smaller ship.
The range 5.
Or
or
you get like a raider coming towards you. Man, you get that one punch to slap it. Yeah, like the raider. Raider coming in at you. Like a one-on-one, the raider will beat the CR90. But if you can get like a
depends on what you're putting on it. I mean, I don't know. I don't totally agree with that.
All right, I've always seen the raider crump a.
I've done a
CR90.
bunch of simulations myself. Yeah.
But if the CR90 could do some sort of big old, punch them on the nose for 7 points on the way in, that could significantly change things.
Certainly, yeah. This is pretty interesting here for a big punch, it's an Alpha Strike punch.
Yeah, but on the on this specific ship, because you can throw Zuckuss on there as a crew, you can make it even tougher for somebody to avoid the punch too. It's I'm flying against Palp Aces. Well, you can save yourself on one of them maybe, but if I hit you with it hard enough with 6
you're
dice,
only rolling so many evade dice, and with Zuckuss. Yeah, so an interesting thing to do with this would be like a heavy laser cannon. Not a heavy laser cannon. The single turbo laser on the C-Roc or whatever. And you fire at range 5 with Zuckuss and Dengar crew and maybe 4 Loam crew. So you could roll up to 6 dice. You could re-roll any of the enemy defense dice, and you could prevent them from using either their focus or evade token with 4 Loam. That could be a really devastating shot. Because if you're shooting at a ace type ship, that might be, there'll probably be 3 agility to begin with. And the problem would be that your single turbo laser would boost that to 6 dice, which sucks. But if you're taking someone's focus token away, and you're making them re-roll everything that's a focus or evade for free, essentially with Zuckuss.
Yeah.
You could get rid of a lot of evade results that way.
Yeah, and if you use the built-in heavy laser, or not built-in, but the card that comes with this, the heavy laser turret, I mean, that you're not even doubling their agility for it either. So it doesn't reach out as far, but it still has that chance of...
Right, it wouldn't have the same kind of Alpha Strike capacity, but it would have... The heavy laser turret is better for just, continuous use. You're going to be able to, fire past the first couple turns. And with Zuckuss, it's going to be highly accurate. Zuckuss Stengar.
Can I say, just as a aside, this past week we tested the TIE Punisher mission, trying to tweak it some more, and we had a young guy who was defending on some TIE interceptors. We had some single laser turrets firing at TIE interceptors. So you think, oh, they're getting 6 dice, right? So pew 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 pew, I'd get like 3 hits, 4 hits maybe, and no, it was like 4 hits, and they would roll, get like 1 evade. That was it. And that happened twice in the same round. Single turbo lasers took out TIE interceptors.
Well, here's your first problem there. 4 hits on a 4-die weapon is a pretty substantial when they can't modify them. But that's just a standard Jim Chadwick roll of, look, I hit you 4 times again.
We were testing it because you can spend 1 energy to make 1 focus be a hit. Mm-hmm. And we were testing it that they could do that. I think that's too powerful. But so it wasn't just Jim Chadwick luck. It was slightly Jim Chadwick luck with some modification. It wasn't pure luck. I will say my dice were hot. Yeah.
Oh, that's what happens when you put them in the microwave.
My luck is pretty average. I get pretty hot and cold results, but everybody only remembers the good luck that I have. I remember all the bad luck. All right. So should we move on to the titles?
Yeah. So we have 2 really interesting titles here. The first one I'm looking at is Insatiable Wart with 2 R's. And this is...
You gotta say it like that.
Wart. It actually has a -1 energy capacity, which is new. I've never seen that.
Yeah.
C-Roc Cruiser only title. And it reads, when you perform the recover action, gain 3 energy. 1 point. What? Bananas. This is a really cool, powerful ability.
But, but that -1 energy is a big deal. So it basically goes from 4 to...
Yeah, but you're getting 3. So much energy, dog.
It is a big deal, but at the same time, is it? Because there's not a lot of systems to power with energy on this ship.
Well, there's a hard point. So if you've got like a heavy laser turret.
Right. So you've got a heavy laser turret that costs 2 to energize, correct? So if I use this card, recover, I have the energy to feed it next turn.
Yeah.
Without even taking into account any maneuver that I might do.
So you get the energy, and then immediately next turn, you do your movement, you would gain energy, but you're already full, so you don't gain any more.
Yep.
Right. Well, what it does, basically what it's saying is you're going to be at 4 energy, at full energy.
Well, you're going to be at 3 energy.
Yeah, but there's no move
your
on
max
the dial.
Is 3 now.
Right, but there's... Oh, yeah, that's right. So you're going to be at full either way. But there's nothing that... It essentially lets you do the entire dial without hurting you, assuming you've done the recover action.
Yeah.
I just... But it only happens when you do a recover action. So you're either doing a recover action every round, or you're not doing anything else, you know?
Yeah. Let's take a quick look at the huge ship rules to see where this comes in, because there's always, something I have to look at. So, first you do your move, then you have your energy step. So after you move, you get your energy, right?
Yep.
That's when you assign yourself for the energy. Then your energy step... Yeah, okay, you gain your energy during the energy step from your maneuver. Then you allocate your energy. Then you use your energy, so that's all the cards, that have the energy header. You do all that stuff. And then you do your action. So you would get this energy after you would have used your energy from the energy cards. So,
but even
in
if,
order to
even if
spend
you hadn't done that, you would have, by performing the recover action, you would have lost any energy you had
that's
left
the other thing.
On the ship.
You need to have energy for the recover action coming from somewhere. So,
yeah. I mean, if all you want to do is sit there and just regenerate shields every round, this will give you 3 shields every round, no matter what speed you go. And that is not a bad thing. That's pretty good, but you're not doing anything else. And until that point, you are reduced in your main energy to what you're doing. So I see it has use, and it can be powerful in certain circumstances, but I don't know if it's like the best title to go with all the time.
I think no, I'm not saying it's all the time. It's just there's only one thing you can put on the ship that uses energy, that because you only have one hard point. So if you're powering that up every turn, then if you take the recover action, you're getting enough energy to refill that laser turret every turn, or any other hard point. Yeah, regardless of what you do, you're getting enough to charge it. Versus other ones, say for example, hey, I got hit with an ion, I still get my 3 for recovering, and that's where I could see it being useful. Is hey, I'm always going to have enough to power this heavy laser turret, or whatever you decide to put on there.
I wonder if you could put can you replenish your shields even if you're at full shields? So like here's an example.
Probably.
What if you go with
It just says take the recover action. It doesn't recover. Does it necessarily say you have to?
I guess
if
it's
you have
one of
no
those
energy,
questions.
then you can.
That's kind of like
taking a focus even though you didn't roll the die.
Yeah, take the focus even though you didn't need it, kind of thing. Because if you go with optimized generators, once per round when you assign an energy to an equipped upgrade, you gain 2 energy. So let's say you go with the heavy laser turret. You get your energy. Let's say you get whatever. You get energy. You put it on heavy laser turret. Boop, boop, 2 energy. You gain 2 energy. You can do a replenish action, which then gives you 3 energy.
Right.
So
you're pretty
in that
energy
regard,
independent.
You could actually keep your heavy laser turret firing every round and replenishing your shields.
Yeah.
So that could be good,
regardless of your maneuver.
Now, I could see that you would consider ordnance tubes be good with this, but I do not agree that would be the case, because for ordnance tubes, you need a target lock to fire.
Yeah, I think that would be a pretty bad one for this, actually.
Right, and you have to take the recover action to do it, so you don't want ordnance tubes on the Insatiable War, which at first is like, oh, energy, yeah, I'll just, I don't need energy with ordnance tubes.
Maybe if you had automated protocols, but even then, so automated protocols is the card that, it's another one of those modification cards that's once per round after you perform an action that is not a recover or reinforce action, you may spend 1 energy to perform a recover or reinforce action. That's 5 points. And that, if you had that with this title, then, you could do the target locks or coordinate or whatever every turn and be able to also recover 2 shields every turn, because you have to spend 1 energy and your energy cap is 3. So it's kind of a sucky combo, but that could work with ordnance tubes. Well, actually, no, you can't, because you automated
not ordnance tubes, but it could work
same
with,
slot. It's a mod
it would work with. I don't know. Yeah, I think you could, if you wanted to make a brawler, like you just get a cheap ship, you get the Insatiable Wart, you get
heavy laser turret.
Heavy laser turrets, like Zuckuss and Dengar, and you go for
auto include Zuckuss.
Yeah, if this is the only ship you have out there that if you go the other way, then which we had talked about previously, then I don't know that I'd put Zuckuss on this particular ship. But.
Optimized generators, and that way you're getting 3 shield a turn, and you're firing your heavy laser turret. You've got Dengar for modification. Yeah, I could see that. Like, I could see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's good, but it's not like amazing. Like some people could be like,
oh no.
It's so amazing. I don't think it's bad. Cool. Now, just as a side note, I just noticed that the Merchant 1 actually gives a +1 energy, which is not bad. The Merchant 1 title is 2 points, and even if you don't mess with the other things, +1 energy for 2 points is pretty good.
Yeah. But what about the next
that Merchant
title?
1 title is amazing. So.
It's pretty good. But what about the next title? How amazing is this? Okay. Broken Horn. +2 energy. C-Roc cruiser only title. When defending, if you have a reinforced token, you may add 1 additional evade result. If you do, after defending, discard your reinforced token. 5 points. So this is pretty crazy. Partly because I think you could actually use this to add a evade result if you're being attacked from on a section on which you do not have the reinforced token assigned to.
Right. So just to reiterate, there's 2 sections. Even though there's 1 card, there's still 2 sections.
Right.
And you have to pick one side that you're going to defend, the fore or aft.
Right.
With the reinforced token.
Yeah. The reinforced token reads, so I'm looking at the reinforced rules now. You have to assign it to the fore or aft section. When a ship with the reinforced token is defending, the reinforced token adds 1 evade result to its defense roll, but only if that token is assigned to the targeted section. So there's no only if that token is assigned to the targeted section language on the Broken Horn title card.
Yep. So I could see if you've got like a lot of damage in the front and you blasted past everybody and you put the reinforced in the back and you're in the hole, you're only a few hole left in the front, and you're like, I really need to protect the back. You put that reinforced token on the back. Well, let's say one cheeky bugger managed to get around and get a shot on your front, and he's like pew pew pew, and you're suddenly like, and he rolls like a crit.
Yeah, you could spend that evade. Also, you could set yourself up so that you can place your reinforced token strategically, so that in the firing order, you're going to have the reinforced token on the section that's going to be hit, and then if there's a guy at the end of the firing order that's attacking another section, you can spend the reinforced token to add an evade result for that last one, or for just the last guy who's shooting at your
right. Yeah, the last guy in the
main
turn,
target
you might
section.
as well.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Now, a lot of people were kind of saying, for 5 points, this is really just not that worth it. But
I don't know, man.
I was looking at this in another way. I was looking at the Broken Horn gives you 5 points to get +2 energy. Oh,
yeah,
and there's
this
a special ability.
+2 energy is not trivial. That's a lot.
No.
Yeah, that's a big deal, huge deal right there.
That's 50% increase in the ship's energy.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes it so much easier to bank energy, even if you can't load it up on all your weapons and everything. It just gives you the ability to carry things over from turn to turn, for just the 5 points. That's really awesome.
Oh yeah, and because if it's not a mission, you start off fully powered up, everything powered up, and then you get to that point where you're like, you get there, and then suddenly like, this is it. You launch your salvo, and you go like 2 turns like that, duking it out, and then suddenly you're like, I just got mauled. I need to reinforce and replenish my shields and power up all my weapons.
Right.
And, and you're like that turn. You're like, but I got to get out of here and I got to go fast. And you're hurting it. And that's when you want the Tabana gas.
Well, that +2 energy gives you the cap of 6 on the ship, which is way more than you have in shields. So if you're conservative through the rest, through most of the fight, and you do start getting hammered, a reinforce bumps you straight, or not reinforce, a recover bumps you straight back up to full shields again, versus what you run into with the Tantive and the Raider. It tends to be, I've got a couple energy, let me go ahead and recover just to get a couple more shield back, because they're starting to crit me pretty hard from both directions, sort of thing. So I think it's really powerful to have that 2 energy, and like Biff said, just to bank it for a while, because there's not a lot of use that I've seen in here.
You can power it to fire your weapons and replenish your shield to full.
Yep,
I mean, that's pretty big. Or if you've got like the various construction droids that require energy to get rid of cards. There's that. There's also criticals that reduce, the amount of it requires you need to have at least 3 energy to actually do an action, things like that, where you need to have banked energy just to kind of even function. You can do that. I mean, there's a number of things that just even having more energy is really good, which is why when I looked at the Merchant 1 title, 2 points for an extra energy, even just that, just to get the extra energy is good, even if you're never going to use the extra stuff.
Yeah, that point about the repair droid, that's really good. I hadn't thought about that one. That's really, really valuable because, I mean, you're 2/3 of the way of being able to get rid of a face-up damage card by having that +2.
Yeah, so you could actually get rid of a face-up damage card and still replenish your shields. Well, I guess that's 2 actions, but yeah. You could do a lot. Let's say you had that crit that takes 3 energy to, before you can do an action. You could actually have that 3 energy banked and then spend 3 energy, to remove that crit. I don't know. A bunch of things you can do.
There's the shield technician. Is that an action?
The shield technician lets you. When you want to replenish shields, you can pick how much energy to spend, because normally you have to spend all the energy on the main card. Like whatever's there, boom, it gets spent.
Okay.
And actually, even a shield technician on this ship is good because you don't have to say, I'm going to spend all 6 energy to replenish my shields. You could actually say, I'm going to spend 3 or 4 or whatever. And that's actually a very good crew card to put on the Broken Horn. So you don't dump it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it also lets you use the backup shield generator, which is just a cargo piece. Hey, look, every turn I know at least I should every turn have an energy left to get 1 shield back if I need it.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Just to constantly, I don't have to do recover. It's just at the end of the round.
Yeah.
So just
very good. Yeah. Very cool. Another cargo ship piece.
It's neat how these 2 titles basically just kind of present you with options. The Broken Horn, the extra energy, you can just do a lot of things with that. Gives you options. Plus the defense and the option of kind of covering the section that does not have that reinforced token. And the Insatiable Wart, to me, when I see that, it's just giving me the options and I can do whatever I want with my dial on the turn after I perform the recover action.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to, suffer any energy loss, if you will. So it's just about giving you more options, making you flexible. It's cool.
Yeah.
And the Merchant 1 does the same with, getting rid of the cargo for, additional team and crew. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to fall back on what I said in the first time we looked at this. Is I could see having a fun time with 3 or more of these on the table, because with all 3 of these titles, you have the Merchant 1 with this ability to make it kind of a hammer or a scalpel, really, if you tweak it certain ways with all the crew and cargo options that you can put on there. But I can see somebody building the Broken Horn to be the anvil, with all these shield generation pieces and just being, I can put this in the middle and know you're either going to hammer it with everything you've got trying to kill it while the Merchant 1 sweeps around trying to pick stuff off one at a time, or if you leave it alone because you think it's too big of a threat, it can just linger there forever, just becoming a turret, like kind of a bunker right in the center of the table, just getting in the way. And I think it would be interesting to see 3 of these on the table, and just to have it the Insatiable Wart. It could be that just constantly every turn I know it's going to fire no matter what's going to happen. It's just going to recover and be able to fire every turn once I get it stuck in. So.
Yeah, I see the Insatiable Wart as like a Rambo rushing out in the middle, like
it's charging out, just guns blazing, and either to draw fire away from it while the other 2 kind of cinch in or not. But I think it could be fun. I don't know that I could ever afford to get 3 of these, but I do think it would be fun to play them.
You just need 2 friends.
No, I need 3 friends. One to buy, so I can just borrow them.
That's right. You always make me buy everything.
That's right. That's how this works.
I'm sorry, what was that, Biff?
Sorry, I was just laughing. Sorry.
All right, so that's the C-Roc. Everyone's like, oh, they didn't talk about Jabba the Hutt. Like, duh. Is it the last one? No.
Well, yeah. Somebody mentioned a while back, maybe we mentioned this in the last episode, where it feels like we're in this lull of releases. Or there's no, whatever the next wave is, 11 hasn't been really announced in any way, and this is the only thing out there. So I could see them dragging it out for another news release or two, just to because they know it's the only thing they've got. It does make me wonder what's coming next. If it's that they're kind of stuck, or they're waiting for more information to come out about the next movie, or what they're working on. That's
there are these X-Wing 101 articles that I thought about it, and I was actually trying some of these things out, and it's an interesting challenge. If you're new to the game and you have like $101 US, and you want to build a list, you start off, you have to buy a core set, so either the original or the second core set for $40. You have to use FFG prices as well, not Amazon or any of the other sites. So you've got to use full on prices. For $101, can you build a list that would be fun to play? And I was trying to do that. It's actually kind of interesting to attempt, and I would probably take it from the perspective of doing a mission or having fun, more of a casual side, as opposed to I want to kick your teeth in. But yeah.
Yep. They're interesting articles. Obviously, I put my thoughts on one of them, which are always counter to the counter to anybody else's thoughts on those. But it is an interesting kind of theory craft or just kind of thought exercise on what would you do with $100 to try and start up again if you had to, one way, shape, or form, start back up with $100.
I hate the people who complain about articles like this online, because it's like, oh, we get this stupid thing instead of something else, and I'm like, actually, if this article didn't come out, would there really be something in its place that would have more, there for the tournament player?
They're not pushing back the announcement of Wave 11 for next Wing 101 article.
Right.
So it's like, you can either get nothing or you can get this, and is it not geared towards you? Oh, what a crying shame.
Yeah, I'm sorry you don't enjoy spending $100 on a game, and that's all you need to play. So.
Right.
It was interesting to see the other people's kind of ideas for it, and I do kind of hate the fact that you have to get the core set. I know it's understandable for the game in general, but I proposed in mind that I would have rather seen them do. What would you do for two? Maybe this is the 202 article is instead of 101. This is their second semester version of this article. Was what would you spend, like you and a friend together, spend $200 on to play this game? Since you can't really play against yourself with the one core set and the $100. I was like, what would you and a friend do? Would you buy 2 core sets, one of each? Would you, in order that way you have tons of TIE fighters really to start with, and that's the basis of a easily built Empire list. You have a couple X-Wings, which is the basis of an easy to build Rebel list. Or would you do what I suggested, which is get 1 core set and then go to the Scum faction, because that's kind of the only real way you're going to get to the Scum faction and have any kind of variability in it, is to either drop the core set completely or add in $200 so that 2 people can play. So
yeah, the Scum do get left out, and that is a shame. And actually, even looking at things, there's so many little upgrades or crews or things that you think, oh yeah, they're definitely what you'd use on this ship, but oh gosh, you don't have the actual the other card, the other ship that actually has that. Even little things like ordnance, like if I was looking at like a TIE bomber or something, the missiles and stuff that come in the TIE bomber aren't that actually very good. So, and the only thing that comes in the starter set is the proton torpedo. So I was even looking at just all the different things you could do that are just kind of neat, but you're even limited in those respects. It was kind of interesting to kind of see that.
Oh, absolutely. Start looking at turret-based ships. You start to, you're like, wait a minute, where are all the turrets at in this? And you have to really branch out to kind of get a full selection of good turrets to use, and that's painful from a fan of those types of ships. But it does limit you in a lot of ways, and it's sad that it does that. But I kind of understand it from a marketing standpoint.
it's challenging, but I found it kind of interesting to try. You know what I mean? Like which ships do you take? I actually found myself wanting to pick ships. Like I couldn't take what I wanted, so I found myself really twisting and getting an unusual and interesting mix. Purely based upon what was in each particular one. So I don't know. I thought like it can be frustrating, but also can be interesting to try. So 101, I don't know. It's kind of a challenge.
Fun
it's
articles.
Kind of interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, they're good. Hopefully they'll keep up with them.
Yeah. Right. Hopefully there's some more coming. Do we want to talk anything about the other Gen Con events? We're at an hour 10 now. I don't know if you want to...
We could probably go into it a bit. We need like a Gen Con. Gen Con!
I'd just touch on them. We don't need to go into too much crazy detail.
So for those that are able to go to Gen Con, we're actually planning on hosting stuff all for the few days that are 4 days that are there.
Right. In addition to the narrative event.
Yes, the big narrative event on Saturday, the day after the cutoff for the big X-Wing tournament. So if you're doing X-Wing and you don't make the top 64 or whatever it is, you're like, oh, I'm done with X-Wing. You don't have to be. There's the narrative event on that Saturday.
Right.
But we're doing more. Phil, is there more?
There is more. Well, in addition to, we've already been talking about Mario Kart. Do we know which day is that going to be on? Is that going to be on
Biff?
So let me take a look at my schedule here. We're running Mario Karts on both Friday, just on Friday. We had kicked around the idea about doing it on Sunday, but we backed off that. So Friday, we got a morning session, we've got an afternoon session.
Cool.
Yeah, it's two different sessions there. So, and it's speaking from my side, we're getting closer. We do have some testing to do, but I think we've got 2 tracks down. I haven't shown the second track off, but Jim's played it. There are some tweaks I need to do to it, but it's definitely 1,000,000 times faster than some of the other ones I've built. So 2 tracks down. I just need a third one in order to feel completely comfortable with the number of tracks we have. So
and you're going to have the different classes, right?
Yeah, so there's going to be 3 different classes. I mentioned it before, and that's the tricky part, is that the open class is going to allow large base ships, and large base ships on regular kind of Mario Kart tracks. It's really difficult to give them any kind of interestingness to it. So the classic diamond track that Jim's called, you can't really fly a large base ship on it other than just around the outside. So
I did wonder.
Interesting to it.
I did think of something. If you actually had it for the open, where you could take big ships or small base ships, but the big ships couldn't actually cut through the alley, and only the small base ships could. That might be interesting.
It would be done like that out of force because they can't fit down there. It's
right.
It's literally a 2 base wide. I guess they could just skid up one wall or up the other wall, or if they're the best pilot in the galaxy can make it through those things without actually touching a wall, then more
but it
power
might
to
give
them.
an advantage to someone that actually did not take a large base ship and to take a small base ship. They would have an advantage that the big ships wouldn't. So the big ships they would move faster. They would have more hull, probably a turret, things like that. But maybe you can go with an expensive small base ship that could actually fit through the thing. I don't know. It's an idea.
Yeah, we'll look into it. But yeah, it's getting closer, closer and closer. The rules are almost finalized at this point. And I think I've been given control of them now. I need to find them and do all that stuff. But once that's done and they get loaded up, everybody will be able to see them and play with them and complain about them and do all that stuff. And I'll get to say, I don't care. I'm in charge. And this is how it's being done, whether you like it or not. So, but yeah, once I get the tracks will not be completely unveiled until the event. Like, I don't want anybody making copies of them, if that makes sense, and testing and planning ahead on what they're going to do. I know that sounds cheesy, but at least the first 2 tracks will be posting to the people will see pictures of them on the Facebook page. But the third track, whenever I come up with it, I'm gonna keep that a complete secret because I'm gonna save those for the finals, so that no one knows what to expect on the last one. So maybe
cool.
Jim and those will test it, but obviously it's not going to be a widely publicized, so people can practice ahead of time.
Now, I will say before we move on past Mario Kart, in the Facebook, or not Facebook, the FFG thread for Mario Kart, there is a gentleman with the handle C-Roc, S-U-R-A-K, C-Roc.
C-Roc.
Sure. C-Roc.
Spock's dad, guys.
Is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's why I don't get it. But he actually posted pictures, and he wanted to shout out of. I think he actually did Attack Wing Kart, but I'm not quite sure if it was Mario Kart or Attack Wing Kart. But basically, he did it at Rochester Games and Models in Rochester, Kent, in the UK, and he wanted to shout out. So, C-Roc, he did this 3 tracks, and he made it a lot like Mario Kart, where he actually used like a lot of Games Workshop terrain. So he had like Bowser's Castle, where he had the actual Games Workshop castle, set out. I think he had a couple of castles actually. To create this car, you actually went through the gates and around the castle, while everything was going on. And he had like a Toad's Crossroads, and he made all this terrain and stuff to go around the track, which made it look actually pretty cool. So he has a few pictures up there on the FFG thread. If you just search Mario Kart with a K, you'll find the thread. But you wanted to shout out, so those look awesome, C-Roc, and congratulations to the guys at Rochester Games and Models in Rochester. Looks like it was a fun day. They said everyone had a good time. They're planning another event next month, which is pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, but Biff.
Yeah. What's Biff doing? For the what events are you running? You're running some personally.
Yeah, what I've got set up on Thursday, starting off bright and early in the morning, I've got 2 sessions where, if this might not be real applicable to our listeners, but if they've got friends, but for people that have never played X-Wing before, I've got 2 sessions set up where we'll walk you through how to play X-Wing. Last year, I did a scaled down version of my trench run scenario for beginners. We used the board and all the scenery, and just kind of taught you how to play the game while you got to make a run down the trench.
Trench run for beginners. So it wasn't really a trench. It was more like a shallow hole.
Like a ditch run, sort of thing?
A ditch run. It wasn't a full-blown trench.
No, that's very true. Mine was probably only about a half inch, if at all.
It was the simulator before they went to the actual battle. Like, all right, guys, this is a simulator. This is what it's going to look like when you get out there in the real world. And then they get out there. This isn't what they saw the simulator at all.
The simulation was not like this.
That's right. They lied to us. That cardboard and plywood built, turbo lasers are not the same.
I love it. Yep. And then Friday night, I'm doing my Imperial Star Destroyer massive scenario. It's going to be long, but it'll be a lot of fun. I think we've got 24 ships will be out on a 6x4 mat. And there's Star Destroyer weaponry scattered about.
And he posted pictures to the Facebook page. It's got like a whole custom mat that's the Star Destroyer, and he's got actual, terrain pieces for all the weapons and everything. Isn't that Combat Zone?
Yes, it is. Combat Zone scenery, guys. Yep. Out of the UK.
Excellent. Those guys have a lot of great terrain, and seeing them all painted up and stuff, it looks amazing. I love it.
It's really cool. So that'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a little bit of a long run, but it'll be a lot of fun. And then I am going to do my trench run on Friday night. We'll do that. We'll get out. Maybe the ditch run. We'll do that Friday night. That'll be a lot of fun as well.
And then there's somebody else running some events as well that
Yeah, I've got. I do have a buddy who's going to do an assault on an asteroid base. He's doing that Friday in the morning, and then he's got a variant of a trench run that he will do kind of late afternoon, early evening on Friday as well. And then just kind of collectively as a group, beyond the narrative, we've got a sprinkling of casual B team play where we're gonna, you get an event ticket. We're gonna give you a space that you can play. We'll buddy up with someone if you're just coming by yourself, so you can get in a match or two. Or just casual B team. Just bring your own gear. You'll have a table to play at. And we're also gonna do some casual epic battles where you got to bring in the huge ships.
Is that the one Phil's doing? Is that on Sunday?
it's different from that actually. The huge ship brawl is going to be a different event. We can get to that later.
Actually, tell us about it now.
Okay. So a huge ship brawl is different than a epic battle in that we're going to limit it probably to huge ships only. So instead of a typical epic battle where you would have maybe one huge ship and a couple hundred points of smaller ships to fill out your list, in these battles, I'm looking at this being a 2-on-2 battle, so 2 players on each side. Each one has 130 points or so to spend on huge ships only. So you could do it without whatever you... I think the limiting factor is probably going to be what you have in your collection, rather than like... I guess it's technically possible to bring like 4
six
rebel transports.
But three apiece, right? I can do. We can get a buddy to get 6 C-Rocs on the table.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and just do what damage you can with that. I don't know if you can afford guns at that point. But even if you had like 4 transports, you can actually ram someone to death pretty efficiently.
Yeah.
If you can trap them. So think about that. But I think mostly it'll be corvettes and raiders and Gazantes with guns, C-Rocs with guns, and possibly, I guess, if another scum epic ship is out by then, and hopefully the C-Roc will be out by then. Those will be shooting at each other with their main armaments without the distraction of smaller ships. And I think it'll be fun because it'll be very easy to play, because just controlling one epic ship is actually pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
So it'll be quick games, and it'll be a different kind of battle than we ever really see. And
it'll be
I think it'll be fun. Yeah.
Huge.
It'll be more like a naval battle simulator than a tactical dogfight simulator.
Yeah, I can even see throwing up some upgrades in the middle to make it like a Hunger Games where you
I'm not into that kind of stuff, but
that's too casual, Jim. God.
Yeah. All right, but that sounds pretty fun, like a giant free for all, epic furball.
Kind of, yeah.
Cool. Biff, did you have more stuff that you and the other guys were doing there?
There's a spattering of games that are not X-Wing, not many, but there's a couple, but I won't touch on those. And just looking at the list, there is a Rebel resupply scenario that I'll be running Friday morning. It's kind of set within the Rebels cartoon TV series.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Where you're using the Ghost and the Inquisitor and a couple of TIE fighters, and the Rebels are trying to take out an Imperial transport, capture a cargo container, and then try to exit the map before they're obliterated.
That sounds pretty cool.
But I think that's kind of touching upon everything. We got over 1,000 player hours scheduled. So if you like X-Wing and you think you're bored, come check us out at Gencon, because we'll get you into a game.
And if there's no way you can get to Gencon, just wait until afterwards. We'll try to run a global campaign, and we'll try to link up, and we'll do our narrative event, but we'll do it for the world and provide everything. So if you're a TO, you want to host it in your local area, or you're just you and a buddy in a garage or basement want to play it and report in, and we'll take all the results and tally them up and come up with with the overall narrative event. So, and I can't wait. We're going to be doing narrative or dramatic reading of backstories and stuff ahead of time. So when are those going to be released?
Jake is still working on those. That's Jake's last goodbye project for the the podcast. And it is going to be quite the project, because we're probably going to have about 2 hours worth of audio content for that. And it's heavy editing work, because it's going to be sound effects, it's going to be music. He has to chop together astromech voices, sounds.
I thought we had an
lines.
astromech already.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with what I heard.
Yeah, that was guys. That was me whistling and making fart noises.
But it worked for me. I mean, I was in. It was good.
I think Biff ruined one of my lines because he was laughing.
Yep.
I think what's funny is way back when we did the first one, I made the joke of us becoming the Radio Mystery Hour, and apparently that's what we're becoming with this. How did we go from let's just do some quick scenarios up to it's a 2-hour radio drama before the release of this thing. So here's my only question: are we going to have to do a post drama after this is all over for what happened?
Like a epilogue?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to see.
We'll see.
Now, we are going to post.
They should be out within a month, I would say. The first episode, anyway.
We're going to post these on the YouTube channel. So I know J-Bot's been slowly uploading all the old episodes, and he's been doing his RPG campaign with the other guys, with the crew.
You guys are going to love some of the stupid stuff that happened in episode 2, in session 2, if I can get it fully edited, because it's there's some great new comedy lines that happened out of that one that I think Biff and Phil are aware of that I don't want to spoil. So
I'm not quite done with the first episode or the first session, so I think I've got like 15-20 minutes left. But it's
and they're around 3 hours, 3.5 hours long, I think, when you get it all put together. So.
Yep. And so we're eventually going to do. You're also carving up all the captain's questions and on their own.
Yeah. I started doing a couple more of those last night. It's a daunting task when you're like, wait a minute, how many episodes have we made? And trying to make sense of it. But I think I'm slowly catching up to some of the funnier ones that we've done, like our 3.5 hour. It felt like epic rant on food. So. That's coming up soon. So.
And it's the first one about the Heroes of Turi cluster. And I'm like, oh, you're really interested. You should listen to our podcast because we go over it. That's the one where we spend like 30 minutes talking about fast food.
So we're coming up on that. I need to start breaking up some of my rants and putting them on there because I'm honestly, I want to get the classic storage rant put up there as soon as possible because I think that one's that's an award winner. My complaint about storage. So. There's some good stuff coming up, so I recommend anybody who has just caught on to the show now to just go back and listen to the old ones. It's us getting better and better, although we're still not great at this. But you can see how bad we were to begin with, and be marveled at how much better we've gotten. And also there's some really good content back there too. I mean, the mission stuff, which I haven't even started really breaking that up yet. So there's a lot of good stuff just in the full episodes to enjoy.
Yeah, and there's also the T-shirt sales. I know I'm using Teespring, so basically you run a cool campaign for so many weeks, 3 weeks or so, and if enough people purchase the T-shirts within that time frame, it'll order. I think the threshold's pretty low, like 5, something like that. And I know the EU, European Union campaign, because there's one just for those people who have to pay shipping from the U.S. They have not been able to get enough people to buy the T-shirts, and there's one poor guy who's like, please buy shirts, and every time he puts an order in for the EU, and there's not been enough people to actually run an order, and he's been wanting to get some T-shirts. And so if you're in the EU and you want a Shuttle Tydirium podcast T-shirt, then I recommend going out to the campaign page and getting it, because you'd make a few other people out there happy. And I scheduled this was like $20 equivalent, so I think it was how many euros, 17, 18 euros or something like that. So, yeah.
Cool.
All right. So are we near the end of the podcast, or I even had Biophysical submit a B team list, but maybe we better save it for next time.
Yeah, that sounds like a good save for another episode. Good content for future episodes, yeah.
I like Biophysical, so he wants to do a B team. I'm more than happy to do it. All right, guys. If you've got anybody else got any last words?
No, good here.
No, I'm all good.
Yeah, cool, this was good. First ride was very good.
Excellent. All right. Well, you've reached the end of the Shuttle Tydirium podcast one more time, and tune in next week to find out what the crew is doing. Shuttle Tydirium podcast. Yay! All right, guys, take it easy. Talk to you next week.
See you.